One of the things that I promised myself for 2024 was that if I wanted to do a thing, I was just gonna go ahead and do it. I wasn't gonna wait for everything to line up perfectly, that I needed to have a certain aesthetic or certain equipment. If I wanted to do a thing, then I was going to do it. And that is why I am starting my Booktube channel. Hello, my name is Danielle, and I'm going to be doing the Booktube newbie tag. Welcome. Also, bear with me. I am nervous. I'm also anxious and excited, so my energy might be a little bit all over the place. It's okay. And I mean to start off how I mean to continue. So if I'm looking a little bit crazy, it's because I always look a little bit crazy. First question is, why did you start this channel? And in simple terms, I love reading and I also love talking about books, but I don't have very many people in my life that I can actually talk about books with. When I mean not very many people, I mean I have one person and we attempt to buddy read, but it takes us like months to get through one book, which is fine. But in the meantime, when I'm reading other books, I would like to discuss those in a more community verbal way. And that is more of the simple explanation. To go a little bit deeper into what this channel means to me and why I started it is I am a stay-at-home mom of three. And any of my stay-at-home parents know that sometimes that could be a bit isolating because you don't get out as often as you would like. But two of my kids are actually autistic and nonverbal, so that adds another level of isolation. We can't do social gatherings like everyone else. We don't get to do play dates like everyone else. Like we can start, but I end up leaving, being alone. Then my day to day is just chaotic. It's about balancing the needs of all of my children. And I used to just lose myself into that, right? Like my identity has literally been just became being a wife and being a mom. And one of the things that I've always loved throughout my life is reading. And I promised myself that I was going to do more of what I love. And my Booktube channel is going to be a way to not only build a community, but hold myself accountable to make sure that I am taking time every day just to sit down and open up a book and enjoy. Now, sorry if that was a little bit long-winded. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things that I can bring to BookTube? Now, I don't know about fun because I don't know, in my old age, I don't know if I'm that fun. But as far as unique, I really want to bring back reading being self-care and just remind people that it's not a competition. It doesn't matter how many books you read. I might read one book a month and I might read 15 books a month. It doesn't matter. I just want to be your couch friend. I just heard that term on Book Talk about moms who just want that friend that'll come over with no expectations, sit on the couch and just chat it up. I want to be that for you all, and I'm asking you guys to be that for me. But we can just come. I don't need to be fancy and made up, and my house doesn't need to be super aesthetic, and I don't need to have 50,000 bookshelves. I love to see it, but I don't have it. And I want to normalize that we're just coming on here and we're just chatting about books, the books that we love, the books that made us cry, the books that we were on the fence about. And it's just very casual. And sure, I want to keep up with the trends because I learn a lot of book recommendations and all of that from watching social media. But I really just want my little pocket of BookTube to just be a safe space for the overwhelmed person who just wants to breathe, listen about books, chat back about books. What are you most excited about this channel? I'm mostly excited, and I'm gonna keep saying this. You'll probably just hear this throughout the video. I'm most excited to build a community. I just want to talk to people. I want to have friends. I want to connect to others. I'm just most excited about having conversations with like-minded individuals about the books that we love. Next question is, why do I love reading? I love reading because it's my escape from the world. No, no, no. A lot of these books be having real life things, but I like to just immerse myself in just something new, something that is not from the day to day. I like losing myself in books, but there are also a bunch of books that I can actually find myself in that I resonate with deeply. One of my favorite books is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wing, and specifically the mom's POV, and just how when you get married and you have kids, that literally becomes your identity. And when I read that book, I was literally feeling that at the time, but I didn't know how to put it in words, or I felt guilty for even thinking that way. Just seeing an author put into words how I'm feeling is amazing. I also just finished the arc of This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I felt so seen as a stay-at-home mom and as a mom of two autistic children. The amount of care she put in there So books for me just they're amazing. They're like I could pick up a book and lose myself, and just for pure entertainment, I could pick up a book and find myself. And I love that. I love the emotions that books spark in me, whether it's happiness or sad or whatever. It always sparks something and makes me feel. And I love that for me. What book or series got you into reading? So I've been reading since really young. I remember buddy reading with my dad when we were in like the third grade. Of course, it was his way of just trying to get me to learn how to read better. But the Wishbone series was our book. My dad would read a page. I would read a page. Then after that, of course, I was on the Harry Potter bandwagon. Again, my dad buddy read that. So he bought me the first book. Then he got himself a first book. We would read, and on the weekends we would chat about what we read. So yeah, those are the books that really got me into reading. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? How do you all guys stay up to date with all of the latest news and trends? Like, is it just you signing up for everyone's newsletters? Is it social media? Like, I go into booktubers things and I see these special editions that they got from Kickstarters, and I'm like, how do I find out about a Kickstarter? Another question is, how do you stay consistent, or what is the creative process of thinking of new things to talk about? Because not everyone just comes up on here with a wrap up. They have specific recommendations if you like this, and then just what does the creative process look like for you? The next question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? For me, I think just getting outside of my own head. I think because I am a consumer of booktube, and I see so many great booktubers and they love reading and they're great at what they do. I feel like I might constantly compare myself of like, oh, why people don't like me, or I don't sound as educated as they do about this book that we both read, or I'm not using words like them. So I think just comparing myself and trying to get outside my head, and just remember, like, that's not why I started this channel. I genuinely just want to talk books, and I will be determined to not lose myself and just being a content creator instead of just remembering I love books and I want to talk about books. When did you start reading? So again, I would say I've been reading for forever. My dad had us on Hooked on Phonics from like kindergarten. Hooked on Phonics still a thing, but yeah, I would say really, really reading from the third grade. So I was about 8 with my dad, and I have been reading ever since. There have been years when I haven't read as much. For the last 2 years, I've been reading like 100 books a year, but there were years where I only read like 20 books. So I never stopped, but there were, especially when I was in college, there were times when I wasn't reading as much. And when I first became a mom, I wasn't reading as much either. But I've always loved reading. So I would say since third grade, 8 years old. Where do you read? Right where I'm sitting on my bed. I try to get the most reading done. But honestly, I read everywhere. I know there's some debate on audiobooks not being reading, but I use audiobooks a lot when I'm just keeping up with the house, maintaining chores and stuff. I got a book in my ear, going for a walk. I got the book in my ear. So wherever I can, I will read. But my favorite spot has to just be cozying up right here on my bed. What kind of books do you like to read? I am a fantasy and sci-fi girly through and through. I will throw in a romance just as kind of like a buffer book in between. And I'm not really picky about my romances. I prefer kind of like the fluffy things because I do like my fantasy to be a little bit on the darker side, so very gruesome, violent, things like that. So then my romance, I try to keep it a little bit fluffy and mushy. Fantasy, sci-fi, that's my babies. What does your book collection look like? It don't look like nothing. There's 5 of us in a small New York apartment. With the way my toddlers are set up, having bookshelves just really isn't realistic for me. My kids have already destroyed so many physical copies. My son, he climbs on everything. So my husband, as you can see, has been starting to put up some shelves for me for my physical books. But a lot of my books I actually have on my Kindle, and again, audiobooks. I am just now starting to get into collecting books now, which I'm super excited that I got the money for. So I'm starting to get more into that, but I don't have an extensive collection. I think as far as physical books, I'm looking over here because I also have them on my desk. I have a cart full of books, and I probably own like a little over 100 physical books, which a blessing. Like I know that's still a lot of books in a lot of people's terms, but as far as like being specifically on Booktube, I don't think it's a lot. But my Kindle, on the other hand, that looks crazy. So let's normalize Kindle hauls, ebook hauls, audiobook hauls, library hauls. Like, can we normalize that? I think I'm gonna do a video of a Kindle haul because I buy most of my books on Kindle. And that has been it for me. I'm sorry if I sound super nervous and over the top, but I am excited to be here. And if you decide to stick around and subscribe and like my video, I would greatly appreciate that. Please leave a comment, just anything, feedback, your favorite books that you like to read, whatever question that you want to add to, please go ahead and drop it in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Bye.